And we are live. How are we all doing, people? Myself, Stish here, alongside my sparring partner, as always, Quinny. How are you doing, Quinny? What's going on? What's good, mate?
Oh, good, mate. Oh, good. Good to see you again. Twice in 1 week, so it was good.
Twice in 2 days, mate, which we'll get into as well.
But yeah, live and loud, ready, back at it for some. We had some end product yesterday, Stishy, of course. We were all about that end product. We were with the god of end product yesterday, Robbie Fowler. So that was all good crack. But I'm doing good. The groins are a bit tight. The calves are a bit angry. And yeah, otherwise, really, really good, mate. Buzzing.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Anyone listening, we are live on Twitch right now. If you're listening to the podcast, you can get involved. We like to get out there live. That's twitch.tv/Plastician. Quinny, as always, the uploads do go to Quinny 3001 on YouTube. If you want to watch them back, if you like to see us while we're talking. I'm not looking particularly well shaven today, so apologies if you are watching as opposed to listening. But you can also listen via the podcast, right, Quinny? You can do that. You can find that on where we got Audible, Spotify, Apple Music. Where else can you find us?
Yeah, I think that's all the main places. Do you know what I've actually noticed with most podcast places? They don't even mention Apple anymore. They just say Spotify and YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously we do the live records on Twitch because that's where the realists come, because that's where the chat is. Those are the people that want to get stuck into the end product themselves, get their hands on it, get stuck into it every single week. So wherever you find us, wherever you come to hang out with us or whatever, just make sure to obviously follow, like, share, retweet, leave reviews, follow, and whatever the buttons are, click them a few times. They really help. Yeah. And
just check.
Thanks very much to everyone that does all that good stuff.
Give them a little buzz and see if they work. Yeah, but yeah, especially like getting involved with the chat. We've got a few ideas of bits and bobs we want to talk about later on in the episode, and we're definitely going to be getting the chat well and truly involved in that a little bit later. But as Quinny just mentioned, we did link up yesterday. This is our second link up in a couple of days. We were fortunate enough to be invited by the Sorare gods to a very special event at Anfield yesterday. We got to play against a bunch of Sorare's, I guess, luckiest and most engaged Liverpool fans. So we got to meet quite a lot of the big sort of Liverpool collectors from around the world. People flew in from overseas to play on the hallowed turf at Anfield. And as Quinny mentioned, a lot of sore legs today. In my case, a really unusual one, my sternum. Like, it feels like it's been battered. And like, I don't know what that is. I didn't take a ball on the chest or anything. So that's slightly worrying. But yeah, groin, knees, hamstrings, calves, quads, you name it. It's aching today. But I got to say, it was worth it, right? It was a great experience. And yeah, good to get on the field with yourself, Quinny. Quinny gave us a good warm up. Got his coaching. What's the word? Handbook out.
Got the coaching license out.
Yeah,
got the coaching license out. Got the cones out. And we tried to do a bit of a warm up here. We've done the cones, done the stretches. And that was good fun. It was a nice wee walk down memory lane for me. And then I set up the box. We're meant to go and do a bit of possession play and then get talking, get to know each other. But too many people were getting in the zone with their maybe some technology or maybe whatever they were up to. So I tried my best for the warm up. It was great. It was the first time I've seen this. I didn't really realize it until afterwards, but it's the first time I've played. Don't get me wrong, when you do the coaching licenses and all that stuff, you play 11-a-side like all the way through that because you're like demo and stuff, and bit of a shorter game than what we had yesterday as well when you do that. But I've not really played 11s like that kind of where it's not like coaches basically since high school. So it was like fantastic experience for me. And actually the back of my heels as well, because I had to get new boots because I chucked my boots out in COVID. Because they were done, and I've not coached since, and I haven't bought boots since, obviously. So the back of my heels are the skin's all gone, and that kind of way, So I had to play through the pain barrier. And somebody's mentioned it in the chat. Harry scored an absolute top bin banger. We won 4-0. Somebody scored a free kick, by the way, a nice left foot effort. Free kick went in, and there was some belters. I've got some great footage that'll be coming out. I don't want to spoil any of it, and there's some great footage coming out from lots of different people. Again, don't want to spoil any of it because some of it will be tremendous, to say the least, But absolutely. You're totally right, Stish. It was a fantastic experience from top to bottom, and like honestly, like cannot express enough gratitude. It's like as football fans and as like now Sorare players and managers, like we are at the proper cutting edge of what being a football fan is probably going to mean going forward, like period, you know, like the way everything's developed and all the rest of it. On a slightly unrelated note, right? But it's something that's in my mind because I was just listening to so many podcasts because of the driving I've been doing. But like with all the stuff you hear about, like, have you heard about, very unrelated, I won't keep on this long, right? I'm sorry. But if you've heard about this mad writer's strike that's going on in Hollywood at the moment,
Yeah.
One of the main things they're worried about is that AI can replace them. You know,
Yeah.
like they want assurances from all these networks and studios that they're not going to replace them with Chat GPT because they're just so
bad.
like, obviously, because everything's so formulaic at this point and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but point being is like the world is like a mentally different place in so many levels. And one of the great things about like how, you know, the mental world that we're in is how amazing football is at the moment and how amazing, like, it's just a thing that it is, you know, like I got a bit cheesy with my tweet talking about being a disciple of football when it's a holy ground and all that kind of stuff. But that's how I really do feel about football, is it's like a, you know, it's not quite a religion, if you like, or something, but it's not too far off that, you know, where it is like something where people come together. And like, that's the thing about Anfield, Stish, as well. When we got the tour, like everywhere, all the quotes on the wall, it's all about people. It's all about family. It's all about working together. It's all about achievement. It's all that good stuff. And that's all, and that's what makes that place. I'm going to get me fuzzy cheeks talking about it. It was magic, man. You know, it's a proper place. And like, for us to experience that, I cannot express, you know, I can't say enough words how amazing it was, how thankful I am to be invited along. And like the people that were playing as well, Stish, was like, so we had a lot of people that were like Liverpool fans on Sorare, and like Sorare, I don't know how they'll release it and they'll talk about it and whatever, but like everyone who was there was like a Liverpool fan of some description. And then there was also some folks like us that, you know, make some content and help people play the game and stuff like that, you know, as a kind of thank you from them, which is fantastic, you know, that they wanted to invite us on that. But for all of us, because one of the first things I asked Dan when it was kind of done and the dust was settled, I was like, so Dan, next year, you know, this experience, what competition does it go into? Is this a Champion Euro? Is this a special weekly? Dan wasn't giving anything away. Dan never tells you anything on these things. He's very good at keeping tight-lipped. But you know, we won't be at that again.
We need to buy him some more beers next time. Yeah, we didn't buy him enough beer. He had to catch a flight, didn't he, Dan? So maybe a few more Guinnesses, we might have got some alpha out of him. But yeah, he was pretty tight-lipped yesterday. I didn't get a chance to sit down too much with him yesterday, to be fair. Probably because we didn't have enough beer flying. But Dan's normally my drinking partner as things get a little bit later on in the experiences I've had with him up to this point. I think this is the third time I've been in his presence, so to speak. But I echo everything you're saying there. Even as a United fan, obviously the rivalry with Liverpool's there. And I think when Dan initially reached out, it was like, oh yeah, I don't know if you'd fancy it, but I'm like, mate, are you serious? Of course I fancy it. You know, you invite me to any football ground in the world, you give me a chance to play on that pitch, I'm all over it. And the legs aren't quite what they used to be capable of, but it was enjoyable. We all got a really good crack at the game as well. Like we had rolling subs, and you know, like I think a lot of us are in a similar boat where we're not as fit as we used to be, but we all wanted to take full. Take the experience with both hands and try and get as much game time as we could. And they were like, the organisers were excellent at making sure everyone got that. And yeah, it was just a really fun event, a great game to be involved in. And then, you know, we got the tour after, like you said, all the kind of history behind some of the things on the walls and the stadium itself. One of the things that struck me about Anfield was it's such an old stadium, but it felt new. So when they were explaining how the main stand had kind of been extended out, where they bought like 2 rows of houses off of the people who live near the stadium so that they could extend that back of the stadium out. Because when I compare it to like Old Trafford is still very much like once you get in, everything's quite tight, packed together, a bit like, you know, when we went Villa Park was quite similar as well. There's big old stadiums. And Anfield didn't feel like that for a stadium that is, you know, as old as those stadiums and as big as them. But the areas felt very wide, very like, you know, high ceilings. You didn't have that claustrophobic vibe that you get sometimes when you go visit another old big stadium in our country. But then the way they explained the way that the stadium had been extended. It's almost like they thought about that. And yeah, it was a great stadium. I'd never been before. So yeah, my first time going to Anfield to be the one playing on the pitch was pretty wild. But yeah, no end product from me in the game. I did have a shot on target. I was trying to figure out what my Sorare score would have been. I think that my first 3 touches were, first one was like a pass completed. The next 2 were a pass missed and possession lost. So I probably undone like the first touch in the next 2. And then I think a couple of crosses into the box. So I think those both went on the end of someone. So that would have been like penalty area entry, pass completed, final third pass maybe. So I reckon I racked up an okay score. Got a shot on target, 2 attempted assists as well with 2 lads. I can't remember their names, but 2 of the lads were through a one-on-one. Just, that bottom right-hand corner was like our arch nemesis in the second half, wasn't it? Everyone that shot that side, it just ended up just the other side of the goal. But yeah, I reckon I put myself on like maybe like a 51, something like that, like an okay performance. Not a fantastic.
I forgot about the clean sheet bonus that we would be getting. I put myself in the mid-40s, but we've got a clean sheet bonus of 10 points.
Would you classify yourself as a defender then, in that sense? Because I think I was playing mostly in midfield. I wouldn't give myself the 10%. I think I did play at right back for some parts of the game, but not for much of it, I'd say. The second half where
I was trying to
time up top.
I was trying to go on the pitch where I thought Trent would be on the pitch. I was on that kind of right side, finding all those pockets in the wide area and try to, pick it up and do something. I didn't do that much. I say I've definitely done an attempted assist or 2. Sorare Bear, Mr. Sitter, he's got a BCM, and I've got a big chance created. 100% on that one.
Yeah. Sorare Banger in the chat says we sound like a couple of Cap 240 bargains.
Definitely was, by the way. Like, I got a good couple of passes out. I definitely lost a few duels, but the guy that get man of the match for them, does he do Cop TV or Cop TV? He does a Liverpool channel. I'm really sorry for not knowing it. But he bossed me in midfield on like 2 exchanges. The first time I got away from me, and I thought, right, okay, if he gets the ball again, I'm going to go again, see if I can get it. And so twice he wiped me. So I've got some duels lost for sure.
I managed to get a tackle in on him, but it went off the pitch, so it wouldn't have been classed as a tackle on Sorare. The one tackle I think I did make was on Tom C, and I managed to keep that in play after, so I won the ball, so that would have gone down as a tackle.
By the way, can I just say on that note, great to meet Tom. Sorare Bear as well was an absolute legend. I mentioned him already. Who else did we meet? We had the Americans over as well. Yeah, Andy Black, Jimmer, and Dylan. Got to meet all them legends as well. That was fantastic. And the Americans were great at soccer, weren't they? They did very well on the pitch.
They were good, yeah. They had a good game.
Jimmer was solid CDM, but I think he was pretty much the only midfielder in that team going box to box or try to do anything. Their team was very forward and forward and defence were very much
Absolutely. I'd agree. I think that was the downfall, wasn't it? There was too much space in the middle to play in. So like when we were fortunate, like Harry Trade, shout out Harry. Anyone who knows Harry knows that he can play football, right? And we had him sat at the back with James, another good footballer. So we were blessed.
Harry started at centre back, so he probably got a 100.
Yeah, and he probably did. That's true. Yeah, so Harry and James at the back were probably 2 of the best ball players on the whole pitch, and we had both of them sat at, at centre back initially, and then I think James on Robbie Fowler's critique at half time was like, you should maybe play one in front of the other, like one of you move into the midfield and just kind of and I think that unlocked it for us. The second half was a lot less cagey. And I think the legs got going, particularly on the Liverpool side. And like you said, there was a lot of lads up top, just desperate to get a chance to score maybe. And the rest of them were at the back, just, desperately trying to stop the goals from leaking in. Because our team we could have had 6 or 7 in that second half, couldn't we? I think some of the big chances missed were unbelievable. One-on-ones, like with acres of space and not hitting the target. And
Thiago had like 3 BCMs, didn't he?
Yeah. I think Thiago missed one. John probably missed a big chance. John Nellis hit the post, didn't he, as well?
I don't know if that was a big chance.
That wasn't a big chance, no, but I think John did have a one-on-one that he missed. We'll have to look. I'm looking forward to seeing anyone listening.
It probably was a cross.
Look out for all of the content from all of these names that we're mentioning, because their content will be you know, they'll have the footage. They'll have the footage in there, and yeah, who knows? Hopefully, we'll end up in the highlights somewhere anyway, Quinny. But it was a pleasure.
Yeah. We met Dream Villain as well. Dream Villain was cool, and
Yep.
I'm trying to remember because there was so many great people to meet as well. Obviously, new people I'd never came across before as well. Liverpool kind of based people, which were fantastic. But it was great meeting a lot of people, like for myself, like, you know, Sorare people. They're like, oh, Tom, Dream Villain, you know, obviously the Americans come over, fantastic. Jimmer was a good crack as well, and you know, it was great from start to finish. Really enjoyed all of it. And yeah, so that's why I was going to kind of take us away from this, because people probably get bored of hearing about it by now, especially because there will be content coming from everyone over the next week or two, I'd imagine. But you know, again, Dan didn't tell me anything. He doesn't give you any of the stuff. But the first thing I said to him after it was all done was, you know, what happens with this next year? Because next year we're not going to be playing at Anfield. You know, they'll be giving that away, like the full thing. You know, like 40 winners or something like that. Get some subs and. Because Dan told me as well that we had the option to have Liverpool like youth coaches like coordinate the teams and do that kind of thing. But he knew Quinny's got a UEFA B license, and he's like, but that's so like, you know, so next year, I say we won't be doing that, you know, and it's just kind of like, you know, as I say, you know, it's great that we got that opportunity this year, but that's just Liverpool, you know what I mean? Never mind all the other clubs and everything else. Like Tom was telling us, you know, maybe a bit lackluster as it was, but he had the PSV training camp experience, and obviously we've had all the other stuff, you know, so like it's lovely that we got to do that. But that is really like, that's like the cutting edge of what being a football fan is going to mean, I think, going forward. Is like, you know, who's going to win this stuff? It's going to be, it is good, not far off. It's not going to be something people will win on the regular, like, oh yeah, I win this every season or something, you know, but like one time you will win it. You will win something soon, you know, like, and then, you know, you'll have the tickets, you'll have the options if you actually aim for it. And like, these things are mentally good, you know, like proper looked after from start to finish. Got a signed Liverpool top as well. I'm probably going to, once I've identified all the autographs, I'll probably give it away, because like it's a lovely top and all that, but like, yeah, it's probably better given away than kept, I think, on this occasion for sure. But I need to identify all the autographs on it. A few of them are numbered and stuff, but like I say, and you know, all the Liverpool fans got one of them guaranteed, I think, wasn't it, Stishy boy?
Yeah, so, Dan came up to me knowing I'm a United fan, was like, just to let you know, we've got some signed jerseys, but we've not got enough for everyone. He said, I hope you don't mind, but yours won't be a signed one. I've got like a replica you can have. So I said, yeah, like make sure that the Liverpool fans get, you know, the signed stuff. I'm just happy to have been a part of the day. But I still got a little replica jersey. I'll probably that like we'll go to my cousin as a Christmas present. But yeah, you know, my kids, I managed to get presents for my kids. There was some, I don't know if you saw, Quinny, but there was some match day programs from the Brentford game there to pick up as well. Picked those up. Got the little earphones from the tour that we did. So yeah, it was great all round. And Channy's in the chat and said, you know, EA Sports have had license to do things like this for years and they've never done anything like it. So this is like a great look for Sorare. And like you said, another thing that I'll touch on as well, from, you know, the point you make of like, this is the beginning and this is the sort of thing people are going to be winning in future. Another thing I thought was really good about it was when talking to some of the others there who've obviously said, maybe seen like people like myself and yourself and probably some of the people watching this that have gone to a few Sorare based events, or, you know, we've got match day tickets for stuff. And obviously it's mostly because we are front facing people who talk about Sorare online to our communities, and we're much more easily contactable than some of the faceless like accounts that play Sorare. Hence why like a lot of the content creators are probably the first people who are getting the outreach at the moment. And, you know, we can be found, we can be contacted. We probably already have conversations with Sorare about things like you obviously, Quinny, have had bits in the past, you know, your mini leagues in the World Cup and that kind of thing. But it was really like talking to some of the other Liverpool fans there, that was the first time that they'd been engaged with anything that was arranged by Sorare. And we got talking about how that Paris event came about that I went to earlier in the season. And one of the things that struck me talking about that was how important the little communities of people in each of the cities are, because that whole Paris thing actually came about from the Paris Sorare Club, which is just a group of friends who play Sorare that come together and play five-a-side every week. They just kind of like found each other through talking to each other on, I guess, Discord and Twitter, and oh, who else is in Paris? Let's meet up and play football. And then that kind of grew into like a legit club of people that meet up every week. And they wanted to then create a football tournament and invited John Nellis to put together like a British team, spoke to the guys at Sorare Data to put like a team together, and then reached out to Sorare and was like, we're doing this, anything, and would you like to be involved, put team forward, blah, blah, blah. And then that, Sorare came back and was like, do you know what, let's help out, try and figure out like if we can get to the Paris game after that, blah, 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 bring some sort of prizes together. And, a lot of that came out of a little community that came together, built their own little community, and then an outreach to Sorare, or Sorare probably picked up on it. They see these little pockets of communities growing. And I think like meeting a lot of people that I hadn't met before yesterday and talking to them about that. And they were like, there's a lot of people from Liverpool there, that will stone's throw away from the ground. And they were saying, oh, this is something that we should do. Now they've met each other, meet up, have a little five-a-side, do something, like create like these social events where, Sorare is a big company, but it's actually still quite small in terms of like its manpower, if that's even a word we should be using anymore, I don't know. But they rely quite heavily on content creators and communities to kind of build the social aspect of the game still. And, there's a lot of talk at the moment about building in this social thing and this, and like create a league with your friends. And I think, like these kind of experiences are there because obviously they have relationships with Liverpool FC, who have feet on the ground, who can like get these things in motion. They've got the people that they need to talk to go, can we make this happen? And then it's a case of outreach. And I think, the reason that people like myself and yourself got invited is we've actively been involved in building like our own kind of little communities around obviously the podcast or YouTube content creators on their kind of YouTube channels, etc. But this time next year, there could be a Paris social club, if you like, in loads of cities dotted around Europe and in Asia and in America. And I'm sure this is the first of many of these kind of really exciting experiences created, and almost like collaboratively worked on with these communities of people who are just trying to put a little bit of oomph into like kickstarting those community activations, if you like. So yeah, that was the longest way ever that I could say. I think it was cool that like we're starting to see Sorare kind of reach out to these pockets and communities of people to help get them, to deliver some of the experiences that they do have the access to actual creation. And yeah, fingers crossed. That little speech there might kickstart anyone watching or listening to this to think, do you know what? I know 10 people in my area who play Sorare. Maybe we create like a five-a-side. And I think a few tweets did come out yesterday. I don't know if you got tagged any, but when the posts were flying about the game, people were like, should we set up another 11-a-side, like friendly match somewhere? And obviously everyone's kind of up for it. It gave me the bug yesterday. Like I haven't played 11-a-side in so long and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, any games of football in and around the London area, let me know if you need a 40-year-old who can't breathe after a sprint to come and play, because I'm your guy, 100%.
I was surprised at my fitness, if you don't know me. I was going into this thinking, because I smoke out a chimney as well, and like I was thinking I was going to be last thing I'll kind of say on it, because I did want to say this earlier, but Stish was for anyone who wasn't there or aware of the game yet, Stish was a tactical mastermind in the game. He used the rolling sub. He used the rolling sub rule to expert effect, every time he needed a breath.
Yeah, that's me.
Robbie Fowler could not believe his expert execution on the rolling sub.
Robbie Fowler looked at me and he said, "Are you off again?" And I was like, because I thought I had in the back of the mind at the beginning, I think we had one player more than we expected, didn't we? Because you were like there getting ready to line up, and it's like we look around, it's like, oh, you're gonna have to sit. Someone else is gonna have to sit on the bench, and it was kind of like it just happened to be that you were like the closest guy.
Yeah, right at the beginning.
Wander off. So I was like, I had you in the back of mine. I thought I can't leave Quinny on the side. As soon as I need a little breath, I'm going to let him come on. So after about, I think maybe like 6 or 7 minutes after a couple of sprints, I was like, Quinny, come on, let's have a swap. Swapped out. And then Robbie Fowler's like put me back in about 2 minutes later at right back, because I think one of the other lads who came on He needed a rest like straight away after as well. One of the American lads, can't remember which one it was. It wasn't Andy.
Maybe the pranks he plays guy. He only played a couple minutes.
It might have been him. But yeah, anyway, someone else come on and needed to come off again minutes later. So I was back on the right flank. Had to do another couple of sprints, came back off again. And that's when Fowler was like, are you seriously back off again? And I was like, look, I'll be all right in the second half. I just need to get away from the wings. Like people kept pinging balls, didn't they, as well? That first half, we were trying to like play into the space. And it was like, just play to feet, like keep it simple. And that's pretty much what we did. The second half was so much easier. I didn't come off in the second half. Less sprinting, a lot more like mentally thinking about what I was doing. And yeah, like you said, that the tactical mastermind, that was it. Like you said, knowing when to get off the pitch for a bit. But he's talking and like, yeah, smoking as well. I think like you were pleased for the full time whistle to go get yourself a cigarette outside, wasn't you? I think you was ready for that.
Mate, I couldn't go outside quick enough, but what was the security like? You know, like if you're only going outside for a cigarette, no chance. So we had to wait for halfway through the stadium tour when we had to go out sections of the ground. I was like, oh, thank God. Cigarette time. But aye, that was good. But like, I found that sorry.
I was going to say a lot of people in the chat are kind of like going back to that point we were just making about setting up more social events, even if it's off our own backs and not like waiting for Sorare to do it. And I think let's get something rolling. You know, in London, it's very easy. I've got experience in running events. I know all the venues. I have contacts everywhere. So we figure out like dates and times, and I can figure out the point of contact for arranging the spots, definitely. And then we can go to Sorare and be like, any tickets for that weekend? You know, like we could. That's how I think that's the best way to work with Sorare on this kind of thing. Is don't wait for them to do it yourself, and then go to them and be like, there's 200 people coming to this. Can you help us out with some stuff?
Yeah. Because like, and that's kind of what I was meaning earlier, is we won't get that next time because that they have so much at their disposal and it's on a season by season basis. So like, like they just, like you said, they're a really big company, but they're not a really big, I think we all kind of know that, everyone here, but it's like, there's buckets of this stuff that's, on the table for future seasons and everything to come sort of thing. So, and again, guys were making jokes when they were there saying stuff like, because if you look at some of the special weeklies that have been on for all the Milan stuff, Champions League, Napoli and all that kind of thing, it will make you consider your collection much more. It will make you consider your gallery, because I'll tell you this, what Sorare did, maybe I should tell you this. Right, okay, this is a wee bit of...
I think I know what you're going to say.
This is a wee bit of...
Yeah.
This is a wee bit of ITK end product, right? So, well, don't tell Dan, right? But the guys that were contacted were like guys that had high ratio of Liverpool cards, regardless of scarcity, gallery value. Those guys that only had like, I think there was one or two Liverpool fans that had like 30 limiteds, and it was like 21 of them were Liverpool cards, for example. So they reached out to those high percentage guys as much as they could, and I think they did as much as they could with the notice they had to gather as many of those people as possible. Yeah. So with that in mind, if there is somewhere you would like to go, you think there's a team that might have an opportunity like that from the Sorare, repertoire of experiences that they've got at their disposal, maybe get, how many players you need to play in these special weeklies, or will it be a league-specific one, or will it be a region one? Because that's what I was trying to get with Dan, but he wouldn't tell me. But all the same, the actual club will probably always qualify for whatever the competition is. So, if it is Man United, if it's Liverpool, Chelsea, Celtic, Real Madrid, Barcelona.
Yeah, 4 or 5 players in that team. Make sure you can field a squad and be ready for that. Yeah.
There was 30 people there, Stish.
There was a lot.
30 spaces. So there'll be 30 spaces next time. Could you finish top 30 in a special weekly for X club that you fancy? I bet you could if you tried.
If you really wanted to, yeah. If you got the right pieces, right? I think if you've got like the key ingredients of like that 5-player team, and then you've got, so if you've got like the sort of the 3-player spine, and like maybe like from the attacking end or the defensive end, depending on what kind of team they're out, then fill those other 2 gaps with like the best players you can that weekend and hope that they bang exactly how you plan. I think like we had the Lyon one, didn't we? This weekend just gone, it was like 40 tickets, VIP.
Yeah.
Or Lyon versus Monaco, wasn't it? And it's like, if you're a Lyon fan, I mean, I think I've got a couple of Lyon. I got like Cherky. Lekeba was out. I did actually look at that and consider it, but Lekeba was suspended. So I was like, I only had Cherky to play with. So I didn't enter it. But I think I might have been tempted to put a decent lineup in there. I've won quite a few goalkeepers, so I end up with like unused goalkeepers on any given game week at the moment. So I have been looking at some of those special weeklies as, you know, I probably have a goalkeeper I can chuck in. If I've got like 2 or 3 of the cards that help me qualify for it, then I would consider it. I think that the Napoli and Milan one I chucked like a very punty, you know, like Salamakers and Origi in there just to have an entry. They were never likely to be like the 2 cards you need to get in amongst the rewards, but there was an entry there nonetheless. And, you know, but if I do have like the pieces, you know, if Leon won, if Lekeba and Cherky were both likely to start, I might have had a serious look at it. But Lekeba's suspended. Cherky didn't start the game previous, so it was like a bit silly putting a big lineup in that one. It was better off put somewhere else. But on the subject of Sorare and a bit of End Product, how was your game week last weekend, Quinny? Any End Product from you?
Can I pick up a comment before we go to that?
Yes,
that's okay.
Let's do that.
Because Sopsy's dropped in saying they need to include travel help as well, would make it better. Now, I am all up for that football tourist life, all about that. But I don't like, if again, thinking with that Liverpool thing in mind, everyone they want to win that is a Liverpool fan. Really, if you want to win something in Liverpool and you're not in Liverpool, then I think that's kind of on me or on you, if you get me. Like, I don't get, nobody pays for any of my travel to any of this stuff. When I went to Spain last year, I had to get the villa sorted. I had to do everything, you know, and when I do all these, you know, I do everything. They don't pay for anything. They just supply access, you know, and I think everyone you hear talk about this is fairly consistent in it, you know, in terms of their approach. So I do agree. And I think they perhaps would for like a grand, you know, imagine, I don't know if they get Champions League final tickets, but imagine something like that, you know, or a next season when they're better equipped internally logistically, if that's I don't know how to say it. Then, you know, for like, I don't know if there's an El Clasico that's a 6-pointer for the title, or, you know, some things like that, then maybe they would, if it was like proper, like, or the AC Milan jumping on the plane thing, like, if they were going to give you that kind of thing, you would hope they would make sure you could get there, because that is like quite a spontaneous, you know, so perhaps in some instances, but I think overall, like, it's definitely far too much to ask, I think.
One thing I will say is someone else in the chat said that they need to make it resaleable. And I have seen people comment on that, because I think someone won something recently they couldn't get to, and then they emailed Sorare about it. I can't remember who it was, but I saw like a thread back and forth. They'd emailed Sorare saying like, can I give this to this person because I can't go? And whoever it was got like a kind of or a semi like automated response that's like, no, you can't sell them, and then just kind of cancelled the ticket altogether. And they were like, whoa, I was just asking, can I? And it's like, the answer is no, but it doesn't, you know, like, I still want the ticket. I'll try and figure out a way to go. But one thing they can do, and this is just like thinking off the top of the dome, people saying like that you need to make it resaleable. Obviously, there is only a very short window in which you can sell these things, because normally you win it and the like event is like a week or 2 later, the way they normally work, right? You don't like win it and then like 6 months down the line you're going. Like the AC Milan like fly on the plane was probably about a month before the fixture actually happened, right? So you haven't got a long time to sell it. However, what they could do easily as a company that works in NFTs is those prizes could be delivered as an NFT. So you know, here's your NFT, like claim your like seat on the plane, the AC Milan. There's nothing stopping you as the owner of that NFT then putting it on OpenSea, allowing someone to buy it, and then they buy it, it lands in their wallet, they go into the Sorare website and unlock the experience like that hasn't like that, then burns the NFT that create that kind of like, right, now you've bought it, once you've claimed it, if you like, it becomes unsaleable. So if you know that you're selling it to someone that is going to claim it, and that happens a lot with other NFT platforms and things where it's like, you know, to talk about an NFT that I was involved in, there was one called Artifact. They did the Clonex, and if you had a certain type of Clonex, you could like claim a pair of shoes, like Nike shoes, right? Exclusive ones. Like a lot of Nike collectors were like, I want that NFT. They went out, bought the NFT just because they wanted the shoes. Then they take that NFT token to a website. They kind of like sign a little transaction fee on the Ethereum blockchain, pay like 20 quid, whatever gas fee. And then it's like, sweet, now put in your like name and address and your shoes will be sent to you when they're made. And then after that, whatever they want to do with the NFT, they can. The NFT still stays in their collection as like a collectible, but the claimable side of that NFT has been claimed. And like the blockchain will show that if you buy this NFT, the shoes have already been claimed. This is just a collectible again. This isn't a pair of shoes. This is just an NFT that looks like this now. And Sorare could do that. They could make, like when maybe a year or back, they did the La Liga tickets one where the top 200 would win tickets for a La Liga game. They had these special versions of the limited cards that had like the little ticket thing down the side of it. And those ticket NFTs were claimable for a ticket to a La Liga game. And you had to they had a way of like claiming them, whatever. But there's no reason that first place in these special things couldn't be like, here's the like flight version, like fly with AC Milan version of this Giroud card or whatever. And like, you've won that. But, if you sell that card to someone else, they can claim your seat on the plane. And it's like, you've got a month to put that on the market and you can list it for like 10, 15 ETH if you want. Someone might pay that for it. And why they don't do that, I don't know. Because that keeps everything on.
That was the way they did La Liga.
Yeah.
That was exactly because the tickets, it was like you won them and then it was like they will be redeemed by the 21st of December or something. But the special weekly was in October. So then some of them went on at the market and I bought 12 of them. I didn't win them, but I got 12. I went on the market and paid.
And then you went and used them to get your tickets, right?
And I went and used them for the tickets. Took Nellis and Hendo and Alex, and we went and seen a few games in Spain, and it was great crack.
So there's no reason they can't do it. They've already done it. So that's how
it's just stamping the card a bit of a different way. But again, that's probably they're maybe light-handed on design. Like someone to do that for the Leon special weekly, for the Napoli special weekly, for all because you would want them all to be individually different, to some extent. And
I
that's
guess
probably
if there's only one place
something they're not quite thrashed out yet.
If they're only playing out one place, they could definitely make a like a unique. It would be like a unique, but maybe like a like the digital collectibles that we had in the World Cup. So maybe like a unique that is just a collectible for that experience. So it's not playable in the game, but you've got it in your account and it can be claimable for this. We've had it, we've done it. I definitely think that they could do it. Like they've got designers on there. We've seen the level of production they made in like these incredible adverts they've done. It won't take a lot for them to go to a designer and go, can you make a like special, like collectible only version of design a unique version of like Giroud for this like game week, and whoever wins it is going to like be able to use that to claim this flight. If they want to make it a playable card, they could do that. That wouldn't make any difference. That was how the La Liga tickets ones worked, right? They're still in circulation. You can still use them in the game. But for something like one of one, like maybe don't give it the unique utility, because a unique is a bit different. Giving away a unique like that possibly has ramifications like market wise down the line, whatever. But no reason you couldn't make a collectible version like we saw with the World Cup cards. There's just a one of one. Number one of one might be the AC Milan badge, like a shiny. Remember, like the old stickers, the shiny version. Just make like a club badge, shiny, collectible, claimable for a seat on the plane to the Tottenham game. I think that if anyone at Sorare is listening, like, well, why aren't we doing that? That would be cool, right? Yeah.
Simo's thrown another kind of interesting piece in here, Stishy Boy. That we were wearing bibs for the match, but the plan wasn't to wear bibs. We were planned on wearing Liverpool kits versus Sorare kits, like the Messi kit from the Messi advert. But Dan told us that they've got new kits and they were held up, so we've not seen them yet. But Simo, unrelated by the way, but draw connections if you want. Simo says in the chat that Nicholas was giving away 3 pairs of your Nike Air Force NFTs that you were talking about there. Maybe Sorare have a deal in place with Nike. He is speculating.
I would speculate that deal isn't with Nike, it's with Artifact, who essentially are owned by Nike, because Nike bought out the business when all those NFTs came out, in a way to kind of like metaverse like do stuff like that, right? And it was a good acquisition. If you were going to acquire any kind of NFT collection at that point that is on point for like the brand of Nike and stuff like that, then Artifact was the right one, the right look. Already had good connections within sort of like the streetwear world, so they acquired it. So yeah, these shoes that Nicholas was giving away on Twitter were Artifact Nike collab shoes. So yeah, I mean, it is interesting. It does make you think, are Sorare talking to Nike or are they talking to Artifact? You know, the fact that they now work with people like Pranksy, who is heavily kind of like intertwined in the world of like NFTs and stuff like that. Pranksy could definitely be the kind of person that could do that intro to like, hey, like Sorare, meet the guys from Artifact, meet the guys from, you know, who looking after Web3 at Nike. So interesting. The only thing I will say is, I mean, it probably makes sense to do it on Twitter in the sense that that reaches a far like broader than Sorare audience in terms of like, if you run that competition as like a special weekly, like Wings and Nike shoes, they're not getting that kind of exposure to like the wider community of NFT people and like kind of like spreading the word of Sorare to like more NFT collectors. But I do think that someone else, I think it was Tom C, we were talking at the event as well about whales, and like he mentioned, who was it? Who was that new whale that he mentioned? There was a new whale. It was like Simer or something.
Yeah, somebody mentions that. That rings a little bell.
Yeah, and and we were having a little discussion about whether or not you think.
Oh yeah,
that
was that the pub afterwards?
Yeah, that's right. So Siren, that was the one. Lunic SR in the chat. Look at that first time chat straight in. Siren, account called Siren is like a new kind of whale account that's come in and is like siphoning up the uniques and the super rares and stuff like that. And yeah, I do wonder if they've seen any kind of amount of sizable new accounts that they were hoping to bring in via like that kind of Pranksy plays, because you know that whole Pranksy plays link is like trying to bring in whales, because it's like super rare or uniques, champ euro. If you want to enter their sort of like side game to win whatever prizes it is that Pranksy plays gives away in that like mini league, but you need a super rare lineup in champ to compete. So it is like, that's the high roller game, isn't it? Yeah, interesting to see how all of these developments, because it does definitely feels like, you know, we had Pranksy plays. Nicholas is now like maybe working with Nike or like Artifact on this shoe giveaway. So there's definitely a lot of forks in the fire, if you like, if that's even a term. I just made that up. I don't know, but they seem to be putting a lot of things out at the moment in terms of like, we obviously seeing more and more content.
Irons in the fire.
Irons in the fire might be the one I was thinking of, yeah. But content creators seem to be tapped up at the moment. We've got more and more of these sort of NFT influencers tapped up. More, you know, visible events like this one with all the Liverpool stuff going on. So it feels like we're ramping. Stuff seems to be ramping up a little bit in terms of like that visibility online for Sorare and outreach. And maybe, you know, like this is the kind of the kickstart to what might become quite a big promotional push over the close season. I don't know. What do you reckon?
I don't know. I think it's a little bit of like I kind of alluded to earlier. I guess like they do have so much of this stuff on their plate that, you know, like I know when Celtic came on initially, the Celtic came on with like 3 games to go, and they were kind of like, we've got like we can kind of ask for anything because the season's about to be up. If you're up for it, let us know. And with some of these things, like again with the mad growth they've had taken on, you know, no one needs me to recite what's happened over the last season, you know. Then I think that so I think it's not a deliberate end of season kind of push. I think it's just kind of more kind of happy accident stuff where it's like, you know, they've got so much of this stuff, and the plan generally is like a big new season, probably awakening kind of time. And maybe whatever their plans are, you know, they're, you know, it's like real football. You know, if you want to do business in the summer, you really close the deal in the spring, you know, kind of thing. You know who your targets are, you line them up. It's like football, it's business. It's all the same stuff, really, isn't it? In some ways. So I think it's more just kind of like it's maybe like it's bubbling. You know, there's like early kind of like things that they're planning that they do out and whatever. And I think like honestly the kind of the path that MLB and NBA in different ways have kind of blazed already. Like, I'm really excited for the coming season for all that kind of extra stuff. Sopsy is asking us if we asked Dan about Messi and Saudi. I didn't ask him anything about that stuff this time, but I know generally their stance is they would only really do Saudi if there was somebody they could partner with and it was commercially viable to sell the cards. And I think if I can be quite frank, like I don't think even Messi at Saudi is viably like something they would want, because then you've got Saudi forever on the platform, and some guys, you know, forever to maintain, to satisfy owners of cards and stuff and whatever. So I'm not sure, because it sounds like Ronaldo's, if Messi and Ronaldo were there, and like the team that are after Messi have apparently put together a package that would include Alba and Busquets. So if like that, if it was to go that full extent, Ronaldo stayed there, and like, you know, that Barca core, you know, 3 DPs, if you like, MLS style, went to Saudi Arabia, then maybe. But I think it would take something like that to make it happen at this point, really.
Yeah, be interesting to see. We haven't spoke about, we did kind of like touch on it, End Product for last weekend, Quinny. How did your game week go last week on the subject of Sorare?
My game week last week, mate, was so yellow. Like, everybody, man, was yellow. Like, just nothing really that screwed me, I don't think. I'm going to open it up, so I can't really remember. But I just know, like, my Cap 240 teams, everything was just meh. I won a guy, he's kind of rubbish. I had a DNP here and there, and yeah, everything was just kind of meh. Celtic won 2-0, and I thought I got just about enough decisives to get into the good stuff, but I only finished 40th, and that's where my crappy reward came from, so not much. And I was going to actually say earlier in the pod, but we're still talking about some of that good stuff. But in the midweek, we got to watch Man City, Real Madrid. I missed the Milan derby, and there'll be some stuff on tonight. But like, for Sorare-wise, I've got nothing on. So like, it was actually a pleasant wee distraction yesterday to not, you know, it's like you've got nothing on. Sometimes the game, maybe a day drags in a bit longer than normal Sorare-wise. But absolutely nothing for me. I'm all about looking at this weekend, Celtic versus Rangers again for the final time this season. So some good fixtures for the weekend coming for me. What about you last weekend?
Well, I almost had I almost made that the hat trick, didn't I? The End Product was definitely within touching distance. I mean, still a great finish for me. Obviously, anyone who follows the podcast knows it was only a few weeks ago that I won U23 Rare Pro and picked up the Donnarumma, which was a little bit deflating. Then took it next week, Donnarumma into Champ Euro, won me the division there, 2 weekends in the trot, picking up an Mbappe rare as the prize. So won a massive reward. Anyway, fast forward to last week, and Sunday night, I found myself top of All-Star Rare Pro, with maybe like 15, 16 accounts left that could still top me. Got through Monday, and it was still looking good. I went to bed, and then I woke up Tuesday to find that I'd been toppled, just pipped. In the end, it was a Diviv lack of clean sheet that cost me. Number 1 in the league, 15 points ahead of me. CSKA had conceded in the last kick of the game. So Diviv, my super rare Diviv, lost like 19 points for goal conceded, clean sheet lost, and then like the 33% bonus that I have on that card. So 19 points knocked off in the last kick of the game, pushed me into like 495 points. So I was over 500.
Wow.
I was sitting there thinking, do you know what? Might have done the hat trick here. Another division that I've never won before, might actually win it. You know, 0.75 ETH as well, like massive cash prize plus a tier 0 rare. And yeah, got pipped. So I did still finish second in All-Star Rare Pro, which picks up half an ETH almost. And I got a tier 0. First place won Florian Wirtz rare.
Ooh.
I won Ter Stegen rare. And at the time I was like, I'm not sure. You know, the best I could have hoped for, I guess, was Haaland. If first place wins an Mbappe, maybe you win a Haaland in second, right? But as we've spoken about on the podcast in the weeks that I did win, some weeks you will get like stuff from the bottom of the pool, and the next week you'll get like the top end of it. And maybe semi-unfortunately for me this weekend, it seemed that everything was kind of from like in the middle somewhere. Ter Stegen, in terms of its like cash value, is not a bad card to win at all. I think the only disappointment for me with Ter Stegen is I don't have any pairings. I love winning cards that I've got a couple of players from that team, or you know, I can make a little defensive block with. I don't have any Barca defenders, so
not that many of them are that exciting either.
Yeah, this is it. It's like, I think this is the goalie thing. I've won quite a few goalies now, so I don't need goalies anymore. But what it does do for me, I think, is allows me to sell one of my champ goalkeeper options. And, you know, like Ter Stegen's a big upgrade on Kevin Trapp. So what I will probably do is look
Yes.
to move Kevin Trapp on at the beginning of next season. I won't sell him just yet while the prices are as low as they are. I'll wait until people are getting their teams ready for the start of next season. Frankfurt aren't a bad looking option usually, but for someone who's had Kevin Trapp in my teams for a little while, very, very rarely do they keep a clean sheet. So he's one of those players who's almost like he's more useful in like cat mode than he is in like champ. So Ter Stegen will probably allow me to put in a very strong champ Euro lineup and still have options. You know, next season I'll have Donnarumma, Ter Stegen, and Jovan Diouf as like champ options. I don't think Trapp is as good as any of those three, but I do think that Diouf is more likely going to be used in U23 because a few of my U23s aged out goalkeeper wise. So yeah, a big weekend of end product still. Picked up a tier 2 rare,
Huge.
2 limited wins. The limited Ajax and PSV stack picked up a little tier 4, tier 5 super rare win, which was probably the worst super rare ever won. But yeah, whether or not we'd be able to shift that, I don't know. But yeah, I was buzzing. You know, 0.49 ETH in total, 5,900 so coins, and a tier 0 to my name. So End Product was there. The midweek I've gone again as well, and I think like I've put that kind of Chengdu, Romulo, Kim Min Woo, and Felipe all in my All-Star Rare Pro. Min Woo and Romulo have both hit big. Romulo picking up 120 points with the captain's band, and Min Woo got like a 98, I think, super rare. So yeah, I'm waiting now on, I think, my goalkeeper. So to see if I can get a clean sheet there, I'll be
That's
in
looking good.
cash prizes. But I think, you know, if the goalkeeper keeps, you know, has an okay game, there should be a card win there, hopefully. But it's been had a very good run of late, and hopefully it can continue. But yeah, in terms of End Product, that another very, very good weekend for me. I haven't even started looking at this weekend ahead. I know you just mentioned Celtic and Rangers, but I haven't really looked at the fixtures just yet. Normally I do it around this time, but I think yesterday, having that full day out, it like knocked a day out. I had to catch up with quite a bit of work this morning, and I haven't had a minute to get in there and start piecing the bits together on Sorare Data. But yeah, that'll probably be my job for the rest of the day, looking at that.
Yeah, well, I've had a wee crash course session doing the lineups a few times, and we've got somebody asking us about the new Sorare Data features. And just with being AFK for a few days, I'm not up to speed with them. I kind of caught the bullet points of the announcement or whatever. You know, it's kind of like identifying and advertising the cards that you're interested in acquiring as well as moving on, and maybe some other things. I don't know. Have you had a look at it yet, Stish, or whatever?
I saw the tweets about it, and I listened to Office Hours with Maxime and Laird, and they were talking about it. So I could kind of see a little bit of what it is. It's something along the lines of I can't see it in. I'm going to have a little look at the market on Sorare Data now and see if I can spot these things. But essentially, it is like you can put markers on your cards that say like, I will take an offer on this card, or I won't take an offer on this card, and you can set little parameters like if you decide like you will sell this card if you get an offer of like 120% of the current like floor price or of the last sold or whatever like that. So you can set these little markers. So then if you're searching for a player, you can specify like, show me all the players on the market, you know, show me all of Messi's rare cards, but only show me the ones that are available at like less than 120% of the current value or something like that. So it's a little bit like trying to show from Sorare Data, and apparently this is going to be part of the free tier as well. Not like this isn't a paid thing, so anyone should be able to see this. If they're, you know, like looking at the sort of offers market, they'll be able to see cards that are specifically available, even if they're not listed. Like, give me an offer, send me an offer for this card. Because I guess with list or play, you might have a lot of cards in your gallery that you would consider selling, but you can't list because you're using them in the game week. So maybe it's like Sorare Data thought, okay, well, this is a way of showing people that I would consider an offer for this card, but you need to send this much. And obviously we don't have anything like that built into the main Sorare site. So quite a useful tool. I don't know whether or not it's something that I will be using so much, because I'm not much of like a trading account. I don't trade in and out of stuff too much. I either sell stuff or I don't sell stuff. And like in terms of like trying to acquire things, I've got enough cards in my gallery now that more often than not, if I don't need that card for a specific game week, I can wait for an auction or, you know, see if something pops up for a price that I want to pay. But I think a lot of people will use this. But yeah, from that, Quinny, what can you take from? Is there anything there that like sounds like something that you might use yourself?
I'm trying to see how you do it. I can't work it out. But I see one bit where it says I've not set a price on a card, and then when I try and click on it, I don't know. So yeah, it sounds kind of cool, I guess. I never really look on Sorare. Oh, there's the button there. Oh, okay, I see it now.
So where does it pop up then, Quinny?
You need to go to, you're on the tab for players, and then just go through positions or whatever, and then when you hover over, you get a wee icon in the top right-hand corner, and then that's your pal for doing it.
So how do I do that? Go into the current market, like live market, or?
No, go to your gallery.
Okay.
I don't know about searching it, but for identifying yours,
my
players
gallery
tab on.
Oh yeah, I see. So I've got a little. If I look now, that my Camilo Vargas, who's in use this week, he's got like a little red sticker next to his name that says "used" and like a kind of like exclamation. So it's like telling me I'm using that card this week. This is on Sorare Data, yeah. So it's showing me that, you know, my cards that are in use this week have a little red dot next to them and it says used, and then it's got a sticker next to it that says no price set. So I can't see how to set those prices. I need to have a play with this really. But yeah, long and short of it, for those listening or watching, there, if you go into like my gallery or your own gallery on Sorare Data, it looks like there's things there that you can click and like set a price for the cards, that kind of thing. So I guess it'll be useful for those people who use Sorare Data to look at the market. I don't use it as much to look at the market, and that's maybe where I'm going wrong. But I can see how this would be useful. But there's probably only a few cards in there that will go in and be like, you know, this is the price I'm looking for. And you can set that at a set price, or you can set it based on like their current value, or, you know, you can set it to pounds, or you can set it to ETH. And it's, yeah, it sounds like it's quite intuitive the way they've figured it out. But, you know, always happy to see more new features on Sorare Data. And it looks on the website as well that they've set up a new affiliate program. Obviously, we hear of the partners and the YouTubers and stuff like that. But I've missed that. I didn't realize that you could become an affiliate. But that was as far back as last month. So you can actually like get some referral links out there for Sorare Data. I completely missed that. But yeah, I was having a little look. Lineup suggestions there, obviously. Lots of good new features in there. I'm just having a little look at the chat as well, actually. Do you think Sorare could put any game mode or something new to keep managers interacted through the week that makes them actually sign into Sorare for something other than sending an offer or replying to one? I mean, I pop my head into Sorare website most days at some point, maybe just out of habit. I don't know, but I'm probably interactive through the week because I have midweek players. But I can understand you saying if you've just got players that are maybe not active in the midweek at the moment, and you're just waiting for the weekend, what could they do to like engage? If I don't know, like what could they do? I can't think of anything, because without live football, that the live football is the whole game, right? Without that, it would just be like dice games or something, which, you know, is not really the product.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that they could do. I think
it's only really draft modes if you're goofing about with trades and stuff like that. This training lineups or
squad
stuff.
Building challenges. I don't know.
I think like as well, like, you know, like we've all kind of blue sky, you know, you do that blue sky thinking where's Sorare go and all the rest of it. But they definitely have the desire to give us a lot of the things that we think, oh, wouldn't it be great if they could do this? They are trying to do a lot of that stuff, you know. So I don't think putting effort into maybe something that's quite hard to imagine, maybe even reimagines what the game means at the core of it in terms of making side games. And I know burning cards has been a topic, and I know with like FIFA, you can, you know, some people always use as a parallel in this conversation because of squad builder challenges where you can just run into the market, buy guys that are not that rare for like really cheap amounts of coins, throw them in a team and get some sort of special item on a one-off kind of event. But I don't think, and I think maybe there's space. I think maybe there is space for that, if that makes sense. But I don't think you would want to force a square peg into a round hole, if that makes sense. Like it needs to kind of, I think any kind of efforts in that way has to be kind of in keeping with what Sorare's about, like own your game and all that stuff, you know.
I think someone in the chat, Yohanatan Garji, said maybe SoCoins betting, and I would say that's definitely not going to happen. And I don't think it's. I think that anything that looks or feels like straight up gambling will be completely avoided. And I think that's a messy territory to get into. I think
Pirate Press with a great point as well. If you're that itching to do stuff, there is more sports, and with the beauties of Sorare Data, you really don't even need to know a diddly squat about them. So I guess
also as well, I think like why do they need another question to ask yourself is like, why would Sorare need you on the website every day? I guess the only reason they would at the moment is they want you to have a little look at the auction market, maybe when you've popped on, which is what I end up doing. You know, I'll go on Sorare and be like, oh, I wonder what uniques are on auction at the moment, or I wonder if there's any decent super rares there that are going cheap at the minute. And that's the only thing that I might do. And I guess like, what is the benefit then is like, if I check the website more often, I'm more likely to bid on a card. So I guess there's that. But in terms of like getting me on the website to not do that, they almost don't want you doing that. They don't want you coming on a website and playing like arcade games or something like that, right? Because they want you to come on and sort your teams out and maybe buy some cards. And beyond that, the only other thing that they could benefit from is like selling advertising space. Like if they get more clicks, they can sell ads, but we don't really want the website full of adverts, do we? So I don't see how they really, it doesn't really matter to them how much time you spend on the website. All that matters to them is like how often you pop in to have a look at the market. So then their incentive is like, how do we get more people looking at the market? And I guess in terms of we looking at the games and like burning cards or squad building challenges, maybe that is where they go. You know, like this week, special weekly, burn 5 Napoli cards and enter this like prize draw or something like that. So I guess it's those things that are more likely to happen than anything else, is something or some kind of game mode that gets you on the market. They need people selling, buying cards, that kind of stuff. But I feel like when the game, you know, I go on the website and make sure I get my teams on, and then I'm engaged with the game all weekend. Without being on the website, I am looking at players' performances, usually through the Sorare Data app. But, you know, I don't think that matters to them too much whether you're looking at it on Sorare Data or their own app in that sense, so long as you are coming back every week to put your teams in or strengthen or sell, or, you know, that's the core product, isn't it? That's what they've got to keep moving. But I can't. Anything to add on that, Quinny, that you can think of?
No, I think that's all that kind of comes to mind from that. Really bummed looking at the weekend without being able to use Cincinnati. I was absolutely love that contest.
Who have Cincinnati got at the weekend? Have they not got?
I don't know. Joe Ducey's lost me now. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they're playing in another contest that is not covered. I don't know. I haven't had a look at the fixtures. I have Cincinnati cards as well, but I haven't even had a minute to look on and see what's going on. But yeah, I think that's always a thing, isn't it? If you've not got your team's not got a fixture and that's the team you play with, then, you know, your weekend's kind of like a bit quieter. But one thing I did want to bring up, Quinny, and I mentioned this off air, and we can get the chat involved with this, is if you could add one feature to the Sorare website, like, you know, like something that works, like something that maybe heightens the product for you. Is there anything you could think of that you'd add? And that goes out to everyone in the chat as well. If you could add one feature to the website, what would it be?
Custom badges.
Badges?
I want to be able to upload my own image file, you know, rather than just those templated 12 badges that are available.
Help build like the brand of your kind of team, if you like to treat it a bit more like an esports type vibe.
Yeah. I think the ultimate would be that they have a badge builder in the onboarding process, like not mandatory upon sign up, but it's something you do get to at some point, you know, like it's available. It doesn't make you do it before you set your passwords or anything. So that would just be a pain in the ass. But like, rather than it picking from the templates, it's like, oh, you better design your badge kind of thing, you know.
Upload a PNG file, that kind of thing, like move it around.
No, not even upload, because that may be beyond some, you know, but like on the site, you know, a basic, like pick a color, pick a shape, type in the name, and then pick one of 40 fucking icons, you know, of animals and symbols of stuff and whatever, you know. A little bit of configuration required at the very least, you know.
Yeah. I think the big one for me at the minute is messaging, especially now we've got list or play. I think like getting deals done without having that interaction. Like I know that we can do it via Discord, but it's just it's a bit annoying having to leave the site and go into that and check the notifications there and go back in and change the offer over here. It's like, you know, it was good that we've got like counter offers now and that kind of thing. That helped. But add in just a little message box that's like, this player's not for sale, stop sending messages, rather than like block someone who just keeps messaging you. So I just want to be able to say, I'm not interested in sending this card, but I've noticed you have this card. If you would consider swapping that one for it, then we can have the discussion. If not, I'm not going to let it go. Send. I think that we need that in there right now. Or even something that's like, hi, this is a good offer, but I don't want to like ruin my team this week, so I'm not going to accept it until the game week's done. Would you still be interested in it next week? Or are you just trying to like make me wipe my team out from the prize pool this week?
Yeah.
Send. Like, I think we need that. So that is probably like the big one for me. Obviously, the fiat wallet is something that's like probably way above and beyond that. That wouldn't make too much of a difference to my like experience of the game though. That will make the product a lot more marketable to a wider audience, which is obviously very important for the business. But in terms of my day-to-day experience, having a messaging inside Sorare would, you know, like, or just as part of the offer sending, doesn't need to be like separate from offers. It shouldn't be like a chat function. Like I don't want to be getting emails in there. Do you know what I mean? Hey, would you come on this podcast? It's just like add it with like an offer or something like that. I think that'd be nice. Doesn't, or you know, like minimize it to like 140 characters or something, like almost like a tweet you can send. Don't need
because like with eBay, I'm just thinking about other things that do this kind of thing. But with eBay, it is like a little message you can send. If it's like ask the seller a question, and it's like, did you buy this, or did you buy this, you know, blah blah blah, or whatever. But again, I've mentioned this before on this topic, but like computer games I play that are like multilingual, you're playing with people in Japan and whatever, you've always got like little prefix messages you can send them, and you know they receive it, and it's like translated to say the same basic thing, you know, and you can have a broken conversation, but you can understand each other, you know. So I don't know how advanced a system like that is, or how you know how that is to integrate. That's really beyond my understanding of things, you know, but it is possible. It seems pretty available on like the market, you know, as it was, you know, capitalism and all that. So like if you've got enough money, I suppose it's there to be gotten. It's just a matter of when. Maybe it's maybe on the to-do list. I hope it is, because we've been talking about it for at least a year, if not two.
Another thing I think they recently did, wasn't they, where they kind of collapse all of the sales of like one player in like its kind of like scarcity in. So one thing that kind of eradicates is, you know, like I've got, for example, one of those like game week 200 versions of Rodrigo, who plays for Real Madrid. So it's different to all of the other limiteds. So I wouldn't list it at floor. I would always list that as like one of the higher priced items on the market, but they're not separate from the limited stack that you can buy from, that you are only going to see like the thing. I would like to be able to like add, you know, why am I like, you know, like a little kind of status almost that kind of floats over it like a bubble, like limited edition, one of one limited version of Rodrigo or something like that. So it's like highlights that as different from all of the other limiteds, and like justifies why I'm putting it up in price a bit. And I think there are quite a few cards out there that have like special limited versions that are, you know, just kind of like finding their way back into that stack of rares, and actually they're not the same as the rest of those cards for people that are trying to collect.
See, to play a little tiny bit of devil's advocate, like you still do have those filters on the market. So if you're generally trying to acquire, like, so I've run to secondary market and just filtered by limited. That's all. And then if you scroll down, there's a tab called Card Edition. And when you open that, you've got Champion, Golden Boy, Game Week Edition, Legends, lots of stuff there. And then it will just show you like the cards that are there. But if you're after a guy, like your problem is really like if I'm after, Hakimi or Bellingham, I'm after Bellingham, and I didn't know that there was one of them available, I would have maybe paid an extra 10% for that or 20% or whatever. But I think to kind of, again, keep on that. See, when you look at the way they're listed, me personally, I know the button says buy lowest price, but I don't think I will ever press that button. I think the first thing I will do every time is click on the card to see all the listings, because see if there's a guy that's 10p different, but like it's a 4% versus a 2% or something, then I'm always going to be interested in that. Now, anyone that I think would spend the money on a special card would maybe, and even if they didn't know they existed, would maybe be on that same level as well. So I think you expand the thing before you buy. I think personally, more people, not everyone, but maybe more. What would you think? I don't know. Would you press that button, buy lowest now? I don't know.
I think if I'm buying that card for like cap mode or something, it doesn't matter about any kind of like special tweaks or, I'm buying it for the game week. So like limited cards that I'm usually buying for that kind of mode, I probably would use a like buy lowest price now. But if I'm thinking of like my gallery and I'm like trying to pick up like some collectibles, and I think that's where, if we're bringing these kind of NFT heads in, it would be nice. So like, they go in and they think, oh, what Real Madrid players are out there? And it's like, they search Real Madrid. It would be nice for my like Rodrigo, if it's listed, to be like special edition Rodrigo. There's only one that looks like this. Like
maybe they don't get stacked in the pile.
Yeah. Like just a way of like highlighting that, these are here's the regular limiteds, here's the cheapest one. That makes sense. And I like the kind of, they're all in one stack. But if there is like a Golden Boy up for sale or a, like a limited edition game week this, or like, what was it, the Rising Sun editions and stuff like that. Player of the year we had at one point, didn't we? I'd like to see them almost like, like in like a special category, like also for sale. These like they come at a premium, but if you're looking for a slightly better looking card or something collectible, these are also on sale at a premium. Without having to say that, just like a little tab that's like other or something, like special versions, because they're not going to be at the floor, right? It'd be very rare that those cards are listed at floor unless someone's like trying to just sell up. But just to touch on something else while we're here, in the chat, someone said to have a little look at McBride and Nicholas, little kind of like back to back on Twitter. Someone basically posted up a picture of a card, said that there's 3 cheaper cards on the market up for sale, starting from £290. Fiat wallet needed ASAP. It highlights the problem with the secondary market being unable to use credit or debit cards. McBride came back and basically said the Fiat wallet would be good, but it'd be interesting to see why people are not using Ramp. Credit cards were available. The card fee was 10%, and Ramp is lower than that. Why are people not just using Ramp or MoonPay? And then Nicholas has replied saying, just in the US, 50% of potential customers get stuck by their bank in the on-ramp process. So the on-ramp process is from changing your money from fiat into Ethereum. Obviously, banks are like, as soon as crypto comes into play, banks like, no, you can't use this. We won't send money to this, blah, blah, blah. So Nicholas said that Fiat wallet solves that and more, which that's a really interesting, because in my head, the Fiat wallet was more, I was picturing it as just like everything will just become priced in fiat and ETH will just be in the background, but you'll still be converting things into ETH. You just won't talk about it. You won't know about it. You'll just be told like, this is the fee. This, like, like we're going to lose 5%. Here you go. But that suggests that the Fiat wallet is more than that. It is literally like a bank transfer into a fiat bank. It doesn't go via ETH, which it would be way better. That would actually be way better. So that's quite exciting. I think that's big. If that's what they're suggesting, that like your bank transfer is not even going to go via crypto, that is huge. That's bigger than I thought. I just thought we were just going to start trying to talk away from the whole thing. Sorare Josh said, would that not make Sorare an exchange site then? And I would say like no, because the wallet is kind of separate from the game. It's a bit like, you can have an account on like a website that maybe sells like graphic designs or something like that, and it's like you upload like a kind of balance to your wallet, and then when you want to buy something, it comes out of the balance that you've uploaded. And Sorare should, if in this case, be no different to that. But it's somehow, I don't know, verified on the blockchain, but isn't actually your money isn't actually touching the blockchain. Sorare would maybe be holding. I don't know how that would work, but
I've not got a clue what to do. So I think like I make that comment, right? I would have thought like if you're going to deposit money onto Sorare into a fiat wallet, and then from that fiat wallet, you're going to then, my imagination takes me here from what little we know about it, you then migrate from a fiat Sorare wallet to the Sorare wallets we have at the moment, basically somehow on site where the bank are already satisfied with the transaction, the money's in Sorare's hands, and then Sorare will somehow take it on a magical journey so that it's a wallet that's usable, and then the money is then retrievable and like sent back as fiat to where it came from. And without them holding ETH to then do an exchange of their own on transaction on arrival or something like that. I don't understand how it can work. It's really to be honest. So
it's be interesting. That I think that's the big thing at the moment, isn't it? Once that is done, that I think that they realize a lot of the kind of marketing and the holding everything back at the moment is like, well, they can't go full throttle until it's that easy to get on the platform. And I think that they're very much aware of, the people are a little bit wary of getting into anything that sounds like crypto. And obviously they still suffer a little bit of the fallout from the whole football index thing as well is obviously still a bit fresh in the memory for people. So I think they kind of got beyond most of the football index arguments, but the crypto NFT side of things still feels a little bit alien to a lot of people that probably would play the game if it was just, use your credit card to buy credit and then, upload your credit to your wallet and then buy cards with your wallet. And then that way, if it doesn't have to go via Ethereum, but it's still verified on the Ethereum chain, that'd be amazing.
I would say you know more about this than I do, mate. So I'll bow to your.
I just think, I'm thinking a bit more like, I think that you still need it to be built on the Ethereum chain, just so that you can move your assets around and it's proven the ownership of it. And there's a reason why this game was built on crypto, is because everything's verifiable on chain, completely like separate from the company Sorare. If Sorare goes bust tomorrow, you can withdraw all your cards to another account and someone else could rebuild the game in a completely different business. Like the cards could be made usable by someone else. A bit like how Sorare Mega works. Like you can play Sorare Mega games. It's a separate website from Sorare. You can pay. Sorare Data used to have their own Sorare tournaments, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's, people could do it. Someone else could build something, a better version of it or something like that. So yeah, I think interesting. Be watching that. I think in terms of like marketability and like the potential to push it to people who play Fantasy Premier League and all these other games is like, here you go. You don't need to buy any crypto. You don't have to go via any crypto. We'll do the crypto bit for you. Just put your money on here and use your money. And this is how much everything costs in your money. And this is how much you win in your money. And yeah, it's all verified underneath it by the blockchain, but that'd be big. Definitely. That sounds better than I thought it was going to be. If that language he uses is quite exciting more than anything, I think. So yeah, it'd be interesting to follow that the next few weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, was there anything else that we had to cover, Quinny? I think that's pretty much.
That was the main things we had on the agenda for the day, and it's just about getting set up for the weekend to go at it against this shit and try and get you on another podium. Hopefully, I can catch up with you. Celtic versus Rangers at the weekend. I've got like 3 teams that are probably dangerous. So let's hope we can get back in amongst it, not a dog eating beetroot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into the lineup builder this afternoon. Probably have the kids buzzing around, like absolutely screaming the house down while I'm doing it, which is not always ideal. But thank God for Sorare Data. it makes it a little bit easier. The concentration level doesn't have to be quite as high, and a lot less tabs open in the desktop than they used to be. But yeah, I'm very much excited for the weekend. Definitely going to be chasing down that hat trick now. Hopefully we can do it soon.
Yeah,
super close. But yeah, I'm feeling good about even in the midweek. I'll be keeping an eye on the scores tonight. I've got a few potential card wins there, so fingers crossed for all that. And yeah, thanks to everyone for listening. Big up to Sorare once again for the invite for me and Quinny to come down to Anfield. We've thoroughly enjoyed that. Hopefully the start of many experiences, not just for us, but for the listeners and everyone who's involved in the community. So yeah, big shout out to everyone who's been locked in. Make sure that you watch back and share via Quinny's YouTube channel. And yeah, like, subscribe, comment, all of that stuff, and via podcasts, via Quinny's YouTube channel. And we'll be back again next week. Same time. I think we'll try and aim for this, Quinny. What, Thursdays, 1 o'clock in the afternoons are quite a sweet spot for me and for you, I think. So we could begin to try and aim for this to be a regular slot. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and hopefully see a few more of you in the chat same time next week. Good luck with the game week, everyone, and we'll see you again next week. Cheers all.